Hello buddies. Today, we're sharing a real-life story from 2011, a narrative packed with loss, strength, and hope. It's about a young girl named Vicky Parker who lived in the United States. What started as a heartbreaking loss developed into an emotional journey that inspired many. In 2011, Vicky was simply a child, attending elementary school in a peaceful area. Her life had already been scarred by tragedy. The previous year, in 2010, she had lost her father to cancer. Her mother, Katie, was all she had left, and they maintained a deep, loving friendship. Katie would pick Vicky up from school every day without fail. But one day, everything changed. On a seemingly routine afternoon, Vicky waited anxiously outside her school, expecting her mother to arrive like always. As time passed and the familiar face of Katie didn't come, Vicky began to feel apprehensive. Minutes stretched into hours, and still, there was no trace of her mother. Just after worry had really crept in, a police officer appeared at the school entrance. He approached Vicky gently and asked, "Are you Vicky Parker?" What he told her next rocked her world. The police informed Vicky that her mother had perished in a vehicle accident. The tiny girl was in full shock. Her only remaining parent was gone. The officer then drove her to the police station, where her only living relative, her maternal aunt Carla, was notified and arrived to take her home. But instead of comfort, what greeted Vicky in her new house was a horror. Carla and Katie had never had a nice connection. Their arguments generally revolved around family property. Carla lived alone with her 12-year-old daughter, having lost her husband in a separate vehicle accident. Though she consented to take Vicky in, her motivations weren't built in love or caring, they were centered in greed. Carla planned to obtain control of Vicky's share of the family property under the pretense of guardianship. From the beginning, Carla treated Vicky with brutality. She gave her a small, dirty room to live in and forced her to perform all the housekeeping. There was no affection, no support, and certainly no healing for the young child who had just lost her mother. Each night, Vicky would lie on her bed crying, missing her mother intensely. One day, after losing her temper, Carla locked Vicky in the dark basement of the house. Vicky was scared of the dark and screamed for rescue, but her cries fell on deaf ears. After several hours, she was finally let go. That night, overcome with grief and loneliness, she decided to do something unique. She penned a letter to her late mother. Vicky knew her mother was no longer living, but writing let her feel near to her. The next day at school, she slipped the note into the mailbox, addressed simply to Mom. Over the next few days, she continued this pattern, pouring out her grief and misery into paper and posting the letters, even though she knew they'd never reach anyone. But something unexpected happened. One day, Vicky got a letter in the mailbox, a response addressed to her. It came out that the local mailman, named Lahiri, had spotted the unanswered letters coming from Vicky. Moved by her story, he opened one and read about the abuse she was enduring at home. Deeply impacted by what he read, Lahiri decided to respond. In his letter, he stated, "Your mother cannot reply, but you are not alone. Think of me as someone sent to help you. I will see you after school tomorrow." Vicky was startled and pleased. She assumed her mother had sent someone to aid her. The next day, she observed a man in a blue uniform standing outside the school. It was Lahiri. He softly approached her and inquired if she was the one writing letters to her mother. Vicky nodded, and the two spoke about everything she had been enduring. Lahiri decided to take action. He returned home with Vicky and confronted Carla immediately, asking her to cease mistreating the child or he would report her to Child Protective Services. Carla, as expected, denied everything, pretending to be a loving aunt. But Lahiri saw through her falsehoods and went directly to the police with Vicky's letters as evidence. Authorities wasted no time. The very next day, child protection officers and the police arrived at Carla's residence. Carla tried to mislead them, claiming Vicky was asleep in her room. But after a thorough search, they found Vicky confined once again in the basement. Vicky was saved on the spot. Carla was arrested, and Lahiri petitioned to formally adopt Vicky. His application was approved, and Vicky moved to live with Lahiri and his wife, who welcomed her warmly into their home. She was finally treated with the love and attention she deserved. Lahiri's wife showered Vicky with devotion, perhaps more than her own children. The story got notice in the media. In 2011, when it was originally revealed, many were struck by the extraordinary friendship between Vicky and the kind-hearted mailman who saved her life. But the narrative didn't end there. In 2022, when Vicky became 18, she joined Child Protective Services. Inspired by her own tragic history, she chose to dedicate her life to helping other children who had been abused and neglected after losing their parents. Her story is a striking reminder of how a single act of compassion can transform a life forever, and how love can still be found, even in the darkest situations.